like to welcome you to the August 19th Municipal Planning Commission meeting. The Municipal Planning Commission is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with Municipal Government Act Section 199. Council chambers is now open for public attendance in person. However, members may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. As per Wheatland County Policy 7.13, members of the public are not permitted to speak unless the commission agrees to hear from them. If the commission agrees to allow the public to speak, the chair will call upon specific individuals at that time. Please note, this call is being recorded and will be uploaded to our website and/or social media. For any individuals using the conference call line, we ask that you mute your phones to eliminate background noise. Everyone has a right to be present at the Municipal Planning Commission meetings. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair as per Municipal Government Act Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. We have an agenda before us. Are there any additions or deletions?
Through the chair to the committee, no, there are no additional items to add.
Thank you. Commission's wishes? Yes.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. All in favor? That is passed. We have the unapproved minutes of July 15th, 2025. Any changes? And if not, can I get a motion? Thank you, Commissioner Clausen. All in favor? That is passed. We now move on to development permit applications, DP 2025-106.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Suzanne Hayes, Development Officer with Wheatland County. I have 3 applications to present this morning, beginning on page 12. This application is for natural resource extraction with a variance. It is located, we can find the location plan on page 22, located approximately 8 kilometers northeast of Dallam, 1.6 kilometers east of Highway 56, and on the south side of Township Road 280. We circulated to landowners within 1 mile. We didn't receive any responses. The Alberta Environment and Protected Areas was circulated during the redesignation with no responses. Alberta Transportation was circulated and they did review the application and said it does fall within the permit area of a provincial highway. However, it would not cause any concerns for ongoing operation. So they issued an exemption from requiring a roadside development permit from Alberta Transportation. However, during the redesignation phase, they had a few comments regarding they include submission of a traffic accommodation strategy, that truck entering signs are required on Highway 56 with no speed reduction permitted, and trucks are subject to the rules and regulations of the Highway Traffic Act and regulations. On August 18th, so yesterday, the applicant received approval of the traffic accommodation strategy and met all the requirements of Alberta Transportation. Torxon Energy was circulated as they have a pipeline in the immediate area. So the applicant I did not receive any response from Torxon. The applicant has submitted new drawings regarding the berm as it was previously directly over the pipeline, and they have submitted new drawings, which I will show shortly. I did add condition 7 that approval from Torxon must be provided prior to construction commencing. The county manager of operations said they needed 1 new gravel approach application, a road use agreement, and an access and work agreement. These have been added as proposed conditions prior to construction commencing. Agriculture and Environment had some concerns with weeds, so we have added a condition regarding control of weeds. And the Planning Department outlined how the application aligns with the applicable planning documents. Pages 24 and 25, we have an aerial photo. So this on page 24 shows the area that was redesignated to natural resource extraction on August 12th, 5 acres of land. And on the next page, we have their site plan. So the application is for the removal of approximately 50,000 tons of material, including clay, gravel, and sand, from the top of a hill located in the northeast corner of an undivided quarter section. Currently, the hill is very steep, but once it has been reclaimed, it will be more conducive to effective farming. Adjacent land uses are predominantly agricultural. The total area of the pit, the actual pit, will be 3 acres, and the project is anticipated to take 2 to 4 months. The material will be hauled to Drumheller and used to construct berms for flood mitigation. The initial phase will include the stripping of topsoil and subsoil, followed by extraction and then reclamation. Gravel pits are subject to the general provisions of the Environmental Protection and Enhancement Act, EPEA, and are subject to enforcement under the EPEA. In my report, I had mentioned that the project was required to obtain a reclamation certificate. However, upon further review, the Conservation and Reclamation Regulation states that a borough excavation less than 5 acres is not required to obtain a reclamation certificate, 5 hectares. However, the applicant has included a reclamation plan with their conservation operation reclamation plan, which they are required to adhere to as per condition 15. The reclamation phase will see the pit graded to remove steep edges and blend the pit into the hill, flattening the hill in the process. Salvaged subsoils will be replaced and disked to decompact subsoils prior to the replacement of the topsoil. And after the replacement of the topsoil, the reclaimed area will be harrowed and seeded, most likely in the following growing season. The haul route is found on page 26. Access to the development is proposed to be an approach from Township Road 280, and then the trucks will travel west to Highway 56. Estimated trip generation is 30 trips per day, which is 15 in and 15 out. So they will require, as previously mentioned, a road approach application, road use agreement, and access and work agreement, which have been added as conditions. Weed management under the CORP, which is the Conservation Operations and Reclamation Plan. Weed management says that all equipment will be cleaned prior to mobilization to ensure the weeds are not transported to the site. Any disinfection will be completed off-site with disposal of wash waters, preventing impact to aquatic environments. Weeds found on-site will be hand-pulled as found. Post-reclamation, weeds are to be managed by the landowner through agricultural crop seeding and weed management practices through the agricultural operations. Regarding berming, the Natural Resource Extraction District stipulates that berming shall be required to screen pit sites from public roadways. So we do have the original berming plan is on page 28. Showing the berm here, this long tubular shape. So the berming is proposed only along the east side of the pit area. So a variance has been requested to allow this relaxation. The applicant believes this will adequately provide screening from Range Road 193 on the east side and the closest residence, which is 0.75 miles northeast of the pit area. Additionally, the applicant has advised that the borough pit size gets smaller each day as they continue to progressively mine, and it won't be visible to any residence or roadway other than on the east side. So as I mentioned, regarding the berming plan, I'm just going to bring up the revised berming plan. So on the left side, we have the original, and in red is a pipeline owned by Torxon Energy. And so the plan was that the berm would be directly over the pipeline. And now they have revised it so that the berm will be on the east side of the pipeline. We do still have a condition that they can't commence construction until we've got confirmation from Torxon, because it may still be in the right of way of the pipeline. And we're not sure if that's acceptable to them yet. So staff's recommendation, let's go back to is on pages 13 through 15. Staff considered the following. The technical documents submitted in support of the application have been reviewed, and the proposal has been found to be acceptable in most respects. Conditions 7 through 9 have been added to address outstanding items regarding potential conflicts with an existing gas pipeline, confirmation of berming material, and submission of an erosion and sediment control plan. These issues must be resolved prior to commencing any on-site activities. The variance criteria from the land use bylaw was considered, and we advised that no concerns were raised from surrounding landowners. The permit has been proposed for a temporary period, which is found in condition 16, until September 30th, 2026. Staff is of the opinion that the variance criteria has been met, subject to the approval of the berm location by the affected gas company, and have recommended approval on that basis. So if you look at condition 2, the variance has been granted, subject to the following: for the berming to be constructed only along the east side. This variance is conditional on the location of the berm being approved by the owner of the underground gas line identified in the berming plan and referenced in condition, which I have said condition 8. It should be 7. So if we want to make that little correction. So conditions, this should say condition 7 rather than condition 8. And so we do have mentioned that condition 5 is for a new approach. Condition 6 for a road use agreement and access and work agreement. Conditions 8 and 9 is that for the submission and approval of the geotech and the erosion and sediment control plan, which they have submitted and are currently under review from Sedulous. And condition 10 to address the weed control. So MPC has the standard 3 options, and that concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. MPC's wishes. Yes, Councilor.
First off, I'd like to move that we amend the DP 25-106 condition 2 to change condition 8 to condition 7. And then I will move it approved as amended.
Thank you. Discussion? Yes, Commissioner Kester.
Yeah, I think I heard you say that any weeds on the site have to be hand pulled.
Yes, that was the plan provided by the applicant.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
That was theirs?
Yes,
Because this is for a whole year.
yes, that's what they have said in their conservation and reclamation plan.
Okay. And then on condition 10, it says referenced in condition 17.
Oh,
My computer doesn't have.
I am sorry.
Oh, we have to make another amendment. I didn't see that.
Yes, we do. So that should be the conservation referenced in condition 15.
Want to amend that on?
Yeah, I was just
Yeah,
gonna say.
go ahead, please.
I'll move that we change the amendment that I first proposed, that we change condition 2 to condition. In 2, we change condition 8 to condition 7, and in condition 10, we change condition 17 to condition 15.
Perfect. Thank you. Any more discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you. We'll move on to DP 2025-116.
This application begins on page 31 of the agenda package. It is for 5 existing accessory buildings with 2 requiring a variance. The location plan is on page 35. It is located approximately 5.6 kilometers northeast of Strathmore, 1.6 kilometers north of Township Road 250 on the east side of Range Road 245. We circulated to landowners within 1 mile. We didn't receive any responses. The WID had no concerns. Planning says the proposal is consistent with the land use bylaw, requesting a variance of more than 10% to the setbacks identified in the Ag General District. On page 36, we have the site plan. So you can see these 3 buildings outlined in red, and the variances between the buildings is what the application is for. So the compliance review identified 5 buildings that require development permits. 2 variances are required, as a building in the middle is too close to the buildings on either side of it. 3 buildings are affected, but only 2 variances are required. On page 41, we can see a photo of the 3 buildings. And we have an aerial photo on page 39. We can see that the parcel is surrounded by a mix of agricultural and country residential properties. All of the buildings, it is this narrow building right here along Range Road 245, or narrow lot. All of the accessory buildings meet the setbacks to the property lines. In order to receive a compliance status, development permits are required for all 5 buildings, with variances for the distance between these 3 buildings. Other options would be to move the buildings, or they could be to move them into compliance or remove them from the parcel. Page 32, we have staff's recommendation, which is to approve the variance. The land use bylaw variance criteria was considered in the recommendation. No concerns were raised from surrounding landowners or county staff regarding the application. So staff is of the opinion that the criteria has been met and have recommended approval on that basis. And MPC has the standard 3 options. Please let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. MPC's wishes. Yes. Commissioner Clausen.
Good morning. I'd like to move that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2025-116 for 5 existing accessory buildings with 2 variances subject to conditions 1 through 4 in the package.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. Thank you.
This is the 3rd and final application this morning. It begins on page 42 of the agenda package. It's for an accessory dwelling with a variance to the maximum size. Page 48, we have the location plan. It is located approximately 1.6 kilometers southeast of Nameka on the southeast corner of the intersection of Township Road 232 and Range Road 242. We circulated to surrounding landowners within 1 mile. We did receive 2 letters with concerns, which are attached to this report. In summary, their concerns are effects on water well pressure and water quality, increased traffic and development in the area, dwelling being used as a rental potentially, and recommendation that the accessory dwelling be placed further back on the lot to the south end. So I will address these concerns a little later in the report. We also circulated to Siksika. We did not receive any responses. The planning department provided a summary of how the application aligns with the planning documents, like the LUB and the municipal development plan. Pages 49 to 51, we have the site plan and some aerial photos. So Township Road 232 is on the north, and this is proposed to be 23 meters from Township Road 232. The required setback is 22.86 meters. So the application is to permit a pre-owned manufactured dwelling constructed in 2018 to be the second permanent residence on the parcel, defined as an accessory dwelling. I'll bring up the aerial photo. The manufactured dwelling is 1,165 square feet, and the primary dwelling is 1,172 square feet. The land use bylaw stipulates that an accessory dwelling may not be larger than 80% of the size of the primary. So this application proposes that a dwelling that is 99% of the size, almost the same size. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a variance to this requirement. Both dwellings will share an existing access from Township Road 232 and will share the existing well and septic system. So here we have on page 51 a more zoomed out aerial photo showing the 18.43 acre parcel is the only lot subdivided from the quarter section other than a long panhandle driveway that provides access to the lands further south, which are a direct control district. The remainder of the subject parcel is Crown land. West and north of the subject parcel are a number of country residential lots and agricultural parcels. On page 52, we have some photos of the proposed dwelling. And then staff's recommendation is on page 42. And we are recommending approval of this application, subject to the conditions as noted. So the following recommendation considers that there were no concerns raised from the agency or internal circulation. Adjacent landowner concerns have been considered, and I will address them as we look at the aerial photo for reference. So the application will make a total of 2 residences on the entire quarter section, so water quality concerns may be misplaced when compared with the adjacent developments in the area. The placement of the home near the front of the parcel meets county setbacks and saves the applicant from installing a new well and septic system and power pole, and allows the rear of the parcel to remain undeveloped. Although the property is not intended to be a rental, regulating home occupants is not under the purview of the Development Authority. As the residence will only be the second one on the quarter section, additional traffic will be minimal, and Township Road 232 is a paved road. No concerns were raised from the Transportation Department in this regard. So back to the 8 conditions that staff are recommending, which include condition 6 regarding the construction hours that are required according to the noise bylaw, and condition 8 that a $5,000 deposit be submitted to be returned when these requirements have been met. That concludes my presentation. Please let me know if you have questions.
Thank you, Suzanne. MPC's wishes. Yes, Commissioner Link.
I'll move that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2025-119 for a dwelling accessory subject to the conditions included in the report.
Thank you. Discussion? Yes, member.
My apologies.
I have a question to admit, and it's, they're going to have 2 houses and they're going to tie into the existing septic service. Like, do we make sure that the septic service is sized enough? Because I have to have Like if I have a 3-bedroom house, it's X amount. If I all of a sudden have a 6-bedroom house, it is twice X.
Yeah, when they apply for their private sewage permit or their tie-in, they have to make sure that the septic system meets the requirements for both dwellings.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call the vote. All in favor? And that is passed. We'll now move on to subdivision applications.
Good morning, Jessica Russell with Development Services, presenting the next 3 subdivision applications. This one is subdivision application SD 2024-004 to adjust the boundaries between the northwest and southwest quarters of Section 31, Township 23, Range 24, west of the 4th Meridian. The subject lands are located 1.2 kilometers southeast of the town of Strathmore, 800 meters west of the intersection of Range Road 245 and Township Road 240. The application proposes to adjust the boundaries between the subject lands, resulting in a plus or minus 62.94 hectare parcel and a plus or minus 64.64 hectare parcel. This file was approved at the May 13, 2025 MPC meeting. Following the meeting, the applicant submitted an amended tentative plan which varied the lot configuration, changing the land involved in the boundary adjustment from plus or minus 7.36 hectares on the previous tentative plan to a plus or minus 13.549 hectares, The amended tentative plan results in an increase in lot frontage for Lot 1 to Township Road 240 from plus or minus 91.44 meters to plus or minus 167.64 meters. The purpose of the amendment is to reduce the amount of road construction needed to provide Lot 1 with access to Township Road 240. Lot 1 is undeveloped. The proposed use of the lot is residential, serviced by on-site private water and wastewater systems. The lot does not currently have access to a municipal road right-of-way or developed roadway. The boundary adjustment is intended to reconfigure the land so that access to an undeveloped portion of Township Road 240 is available. Should the landowner wish to construct a dwelling on the lands in the future, construction of a municipal standard road will be required. Lot 2 is developed with a residence and accessory buildings serviced by existing on-site private water and wastewater servicing systems. Lot 2 is accessed by an existing gravel approach from Township Road 240 to the north. The application includes a set of road drawings and a desktop wetland assessment supporting the proposed boundary adjustment and residential development. Lot 1 currently does not have legal or physical access to a road right-of-way. Access to Lot 1 is proposed by an undeveloped portion of Township Road 240 accommodated by the boundary adjustment. Upon review, the county's third-party engineers found that amendments to the drawings are required to meet county standards for road construction. The construction of Township Road 240, including the road drawings, node amendments, and approaches may be addressed at the development permit stage through a development agreement. Upon review of the desktop wetland assessment, the county's third-party engineers found that Water Act approval will be required, which requires a wetland assessment and impact report as part of the submission. In addition, a wildlife survey may be required. The required technical considerations for wetlands within the development area may be addressed at the development permit stage through the development agreement. The intent of the application is to provide access to a parcel without physical access to a municipal road right-of-way. The proposal is consistent with the agriculture policies within the MDP, which aim to minimize fragmentation and subdivision of agricultural lands and maximize contiguous agricultural lands. The proposal is a boundary adjustment with no new titles created. Policy 3.13.34 of the MDP notes that new subdivision or development shall construct legal and physical road access. Any required connection shall be provided to county standards by the landowner or developer at their cost. Developer responsibility for the cost of road construction is further supported by Policy 3.13.3.3, which states that expansions and improvements to transportation infrastructure required to accommodate a subdivision or development application shall be the financial responsibility of the developer. Regarding road construction, Policy 3.13.3.9 notes that construction must be carried out in a manner that limits impact on natural areas conforming to the natural terrain, minimizing the extent of site alterations, and mimic natural drainage patterns where possible. Further technical studies to understand road construction in relation to drainage and impacts to natural areas may be required at the development permit stage through a development agreement. In accordance with the MGA, municipal reserve dedication is not required as the lots are greater than 16 hectares in size and to be used for continued agricultural purposes. The proposed parcel is consistent with the site regulations in the Agriculture General District, which is an appropriate district for the proposed size and intended use of the lands. Administration is recommending that the Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application ST 2024-004 as amended, subject to the conditions noted in the planning report. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I wigged out there. Commissioner Link.
I would move that Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 024-004, subject to the conditions included in the report.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, I will call the vote. All in favor? And that is passed. We'll move on to subdivision 2025-012.
Jessica Russell presenting subdivision application SD 2025-012 to create one parcel within the southwest quarter of section 25, township 25, range 23, west of the 4th meridian. The lands are located 7.7 kilometers northwest of the village of Standard, 800 meters west of the intersection of Range Road 230 and Township Road 254. Adjacent land uses are predominantly agricultural and farmsteads. Lot 1 is developed with accessory farm buildings. The proposed use of the lot is residential, serviced by on-site private water and wastewater systems. Lot 1 is accessed by an existing gravel approach from Township Road 254 to the south. Lot 1 is used for agricultural purposes with no development or change of use proposed. Lot 2 is accessed by 2 existing gravel approaches, also from Township Road 254 to the south. The application includes a Phase 1 groundwater supply assessment indicating that suitable groundwater resources are available to support the proposed parcels and future residential development. However, the on-site well indicates some wellbore damage, which may impact the potable quality of the water. Upon review, the county's third-party engineers, confirmed the diversion of water for the proposed development will not interfere with any household user, licenses, or traditional agricultural users as noted in the assessment. The county's third-party engineers recommended that the existing well not be used for future drinking purposes, noting that a new well may be required. The application includes a Level 2 model process report evaluating soil and site conditions for the use of on-site private sewage treatment systems. The report indicates that the site is suitable for the installation of a soil-based on-site wastewater treatment system with considerations. Upon review, the county's third-party engineers found that the report demonstrates feasibility for the proposed low-density development. The proposal generally aligns with the applicable statutory and non-statutory plans. The proposal is consistent with the agricultural objectives within the MDP, which protect and minimize fragmentation of existing agricultural lands. The proposal was evaluated against the criteria for subdivision of a first parcel from a quarter section, aligning with policies 3.1.2.5A to H. The proposal does not exceed the 20-acre maximum non-agricultural area of a quarter section, consistent with policy 3.1.2.5A. Further, the lot configuration reflects the existing conditions of the land and minimizes the impacts to agricultural areas by avoiding cultivated areas, consistent with policies 3.1.2.5G and H. Lots 1 and 2 are consistent with the site regulations in the Agricultural General District, which is an appropriate district for the proposed parcel size and intended use of the lands. Municipal reserve dedication for the subject lands is not required. In accordance with the Municipal Government Act, municipal reserve dedication is not required for if one lot is to be created from a quarter section. Notification of the subdivision application was circulated to external agencies, internal departments, and adjacent landowners during a 30-day circulation period. Comments received from external agencies and internal departments are summarized within the report. Administration received no responses from adjacent landowners. Administration is recommending that the Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025-012, subject to the conditions noted in the planning report. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes. Commissioner Kester.
I move that Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025/012 012, subject to the following conditions, 1 through 6.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. We'll move on to SD 2025-013.
Jessica Russell presenting subdivision application SD 2025-013 to create one parcel within Block 3, Plan 9111 470 within southeast quarter of Section 36, Township 24, Range 25, west of the 4th Meridian. The lands are located 800 meters north of the town of Strathmore, 1 kilometer south of the intersection of Range Road 250 and Township Road 250. Adjacent land uses are predominantly agricultural and farmsteads, with a portion of canal owned by the Western Irrigation District, or WID, adjacent to the western boundary of the parcel. Proposed Lot 1 is developed with a farmstead and accessory buildings. The lot is serviced by existing private water and wastewater infrastructure and accessed by an existing gravel approach from Range Road 250 to the east. Lot 2 is used for agricultural purposes with no development or change of use proposed. Lot 2 is accessed by an existing gravel approach also from Range Road 250 to the east. The proposal generally aligns with the applicable statutory and non-statutory plans, including the agricultural objectives within the MDP, which protect and minimize the fragmentation of existing agricultural lands. Pursuant to policy 3.1.2.6 to 3.1.2.8 of the MDP, the proposal was evaluated against the criteria for subdivision. Policy 3.1.2.5A states that the proposed parcel shall not cause a quarter section to exceed the maximum agricultural area of 20 acres. The proposal exceeds the 20-acre maximum non-agricultural area of a quarter section. However, the lot configuration reflects the existing conditions of the land and minimizes the impact to agricultural areas by avoiding cultivated lands, consistent with policies 3.1.2.5 G to H. The proposal results in 6 titled parcels within the quarter section. Policy 3.1.2.8 does not support proposals resulting in more than 5 parcels within a quarter section. However, 2 of the existing 5 parcels on the quarter section have a small amount of developable area and are located north of the WID canal, limiting access to a municipal road right-of-way. Development of the 2 parcels north of the WID canal would require significant lot configuration, with access most likely achieved through adjacent quarter sections. Adherence to policy 3.1.2.8b may be addressed should an application to develop the 2 parcels located north of the WID canal are submitted in the future. The lands are located within the plan area of the intermunicipal development plan between the town of Strathmore and Wheatland County. The lands are identified as a predominantly agriculture area in Figure 5 regarding the future development scenario in the plan area. The proposal is consistent with policy 2.3.1 of the IDP, which states that existing agricultural operations in the county should be allowed to continue in the plan area. The proposed use of the lands as continued agricultural operations, consistent with policy 2.3.5 of the IDP, which considers planning application in accordance with the future development scenario shown in Figure 5. Lots 1 and 2 are consistent with the site regulations of the Agricultural General District, which is an appropriate district for the proposed parcel size and intended use of the lands. Municipal reserve dedication is required for Lot 1 as the size, configuration, and near road frontage of the parcel limits future subdivision potential in the future. In accordance with the Municipal Government Act, municipal reserve dedication is not required for Lot 2, as it is greater than 16 hectares in size and to be used for continued agricultural purposes. Notification of the subdivision application was circulated to external agencies, internal departments, and adjacent landowners during a 30-day circulation period. Comments received from external agencies and internal departments are summarized in the report, and administration received no responses from adjacent landowners. Administration is recommending that the Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application ST 2025-013, subject to the conditions noted in the planning report. Thank you.
Thank you. MPC's wishes. Yes, Commissioner Clausen.
Thanks. I move that Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025-013, subject to the conditions 1 through 7 in the package.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That is passed. We'll move on to SD 2025-016.
Good morning, MPC. Taylor Felt with the county's Planning Development Services team here presenting the next two applications for MPC's consideration. Referring to page 105 of the agenda package here, the subject lands, the land subject to this boundary adjustment proposal are located 5.5 kilometers northwest of the town of Strathmore, 800 meters east of Range Road 255, and on the south side of Township Road 252. The application proposes to increase the area of Lot 1 by transferring 5.08 acres from Lot 2, resulting in a 12.08 acre parcel and a 121.57 acre remainder. In terms of development and servicing on the lot, Lot 1 is developed with a dwelling, several farm and accessory structures, and is serviced by a separate water well and private sewage treatment system. Lot 1 accesses the transportation network via an existing gravel approach to Township Road 252 to the north. Lot 2 is currently used for pasture land for livestock grazing and hay production, and access is available via two existing gravel approaches to Township Road 252 to the north. The county's transportation department noted that an inspection of the three existing approaches is not required with this application, as Township Road 252 was constructed by the county in 2017, and the approaches conform with the current county standards. Road acquisition agreements and easements for construction and maintenance of public works are already registered on both lots 1 and 2, so those will be carried forward if the application is approved. Municipal reserve dedication for Lot 1 was collected when it was approved in 2023. Dedication of municipal reserves is required for the portion of land being transferred, that's Lot 2A, and the estimated amount of cash in lieu owing is $3,124. In accordance with the MGA, dedication of reserves is not required for Lot 2 based on its size at this time, and the recommended conditions of approval reflect the reserve requirements here. The proposal generally aligns with the municipal development plan, specifically the agricultural policies found in Section 3. The application will not facilitate the creation of a new parcel. Rather, it's intended to increase the size of Lot 1 to support small-scale agricultural pursuits on the land. Landowners within 1 mile of the subject site and third-party agencies were notified of the application, and comments have been provided starting on page 102 of the agenda package here. And with that, administration is making the recommendation that MPC approves SD 2025-016, subject to conditions 1 through 4 found on page 100 here. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Taylor. MPC's wishes. Commissioner Clausen.
I move that Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application SD 2025-016, even though it says 17 in the package, subject to the following conditions.
Thank you. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That passes. We will move on to SD 2025-017.
Maybe not.
Taylor Feltz here again with administration presenting SD 2025-017 for the Commission's consideration. Referring to the location map found on page 117 of the agenda package, the subject lands are located 2.6 kilometers east of the hamlet of Nightingale, immediately southwest of the intersection of Range Road 243 and Highway 564. The application proposes to create four 4.13 acre parcels and a 134.82 acre remainder. The lands are currently undeveloped and used for agricultural purposes, and the lands surrounding the site are predominantly used for agricultural purposes, with several farmsteads and residential developments in the area. An extension of the WID canal network bisects the lands, separating the proposed residential and agricultural uses. The applicants provided several technical documents in support of their proposal, including a transportation impact assessment, site-specific stormwater implementation plan, and water and wastewater servicing studies, all of which were reviewed by the county's third-party engineers. I'll briefly summarize the findings of each of the technical documents here. The TIA anticipates that a dwelling on each of the proposed lots will collectively generate 5 to 10 vehicle trips in the peak hours and 52 trips during a typical day. And this is not expected to impact Range Roads 243 or other roadways in the area, not prompting any upgrades. There is a horizontal curve in the road south of Lot 4, and in order to maintain safe sightlines, the future approach to Lot 4 should be located as far north on the lot as possible. Otherwise, there were no other sightline concerns affecting the approach locations of the other 3 lots. The stormwater management plan provided design criteria and conceptual stormwater servicing layout for each lot, erosion and sediment control considerations, and recommendations at the development permit stage. And this would ensure that additional runoff created by the new development would not impact the WID canal or the surrounding environment. The recommendations included the installation of bioretention areas along the perimeter of each of the proposed lots, where the majority of the runoff is expected to discharge to. The exact size and location of the bioretention areas will be determined at the development permit stage, and the county's third-party engineers were satisfied with the level of detail provided at this stage of development. The applicants provided a phase 1 groundwater assessment, which suggested that sufficient aquifer supplies exist to meet the demands of the proposed development without causing adverse effects to existing groundwater users in the area. The applicants also provided a level 2 private sewage treatment system assessment with their application, which concluded that the site conditions and soil composition are suitable for a soil-based wastewater treatment system on each of the lot, with room for reserve areas should that system fail in the future. Municipal reserve dedication is outstanding, and the cash in lieu of land is estimated to be $6,000 for the 4 proposed lots, and this figure is reflected in the recommended conditions of approval. Reserves for Lot 5 are not required at this time in accordance with the MGA. The proposal generally aligns with the municipal development plan policies, specifically the agricultural policies found in Section 3. These policies aim to minimize fragmentation and subdivision of lands and maximize contiguous agricultural lands. The proposal does not exceed the 20-acre maximum non-agricultural area of the quarter section and will not result in more than 5 parcels within the quarter section. Creating these country residential lots on the east side of the canal boundary there separates the agricultural uses and minimizes conflicts with the residential lots. At this stage, the supporting documents provided by the applicants demonstrate that the proposal offers suitable building sites and can be developed without causing adverse impacts on the environment and neighboring properties. Landowners within 1 mile of the subject site and other interested parties were notified of the application. There are no comments that were received by staff from adjacent landowners at the subdivision stage. Those comments received by third-party agencies can be found starting on page 110 of the agenda package. And with that, administration is making the recommendation today that MPC approves SD 2025-017, subject to the 8 conditions found starting on page 110 here. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Taylor. MPC's wishes. Commissioner Clausen.
Thank you. I move that Municipal Planning Commission approve subdivision application 2025-017, subject to the conditions 1 through 8.
Okay, thank you. Discussion. Seeing and hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? That is passed. Thank you very much. I think that brings us to the conclusion of this MPC meeting, and we are adjourned. Thank you.